Tonight, Trump's latest tweet echoes accusations made by Q months ago about Loretta Lynch. And was the Russia-Trump hoax a global conspiracy? Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, I start off each one of these episodes by saying thank you to each and every one of my subscribers. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so thank you so much to each and every one of you who have subscribed. If you have not hit the subscribe button yet, please come here to this landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as these videos get posted, you'll be notified, and that way, because as soon as the information is made available to me, I make it available to you. Now, we're going to jump right into tonight's posts. This is the first one. This is where we left off last time, guys, where we were still talking about what's going on or what happened in Syria, and obviously we're dealing with that as we go. Still a lot there, but the next big story that I think Q is going to be pushing our way is what Trump's putting forward in the in his Twitter feed just recently. We went over those in the last video, but there was one in particular that we're going to revisit, and it's going to explain a lot about what's going on here. Now, in this particular case, what we're going to talk about is this first tweet. We'll read right through it. He posts what he put a long time ago, right? Public interest keep high. Uranium-1 FBI informant. AN0N, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Pakistani intelligence, Muslim Brotherhood, TARMAC meeting, Supreme Court, Loretta Lynch deal, Anthony Scalia, 187, Q. And then Q posts to this picture here in response to it. Coincidence? Supreme Court Loretta Lynch deal drop. POTUS tweet, TARMAC coming soon to a theater near you. Q. All right, so obviously, for those of you who know the situation pretty well, you guys are very familiar with Loretta Lynch and how she's involved in this. But the basic breakdown here is that Q is pointing us to the fact that we're going to be getting into what happened on that plane in big detail, and that's going to be the next story that's going to be presented broadly in the news. Now, we can go back and look at many different instances where Q has proven things or said things that will come to light now, which is pretty much incredible given what we're dealing with here. Now, looking at Trump's tweet in regard to that, we'll check that out in a second here, but this is the next one. So Q responds to himself here, and he says, side-by-side graphics are important. To be clear, Loretta Lynch was promised the Supreme Court position of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Coordinated, planned, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, big problems, Q. Okay, so obviously what this is all talking about is when Loretta Lynch got on the plane with Bill Clinton, they actually sat down and discussed who would get what for what. Now, the whole interview I watched tonight with James Comey was just, it was maddening, it was hilarious, it was, in a very terrible way. Some of the things were just laughable that Comey had to say. And what Comey gets into, though, is I noticed something very, very specific about his interview with George Stephanopoulos, and we'll talk about that a little bit at the end here. He spoke specifically about the fact that he didn't trust Loretta Lynch, and that he thought she had a conflict of interest. And he also stated that George Stephanopoulos basically asked him the question, how did you feel when she told you to change the wording from an investigation to a matter, as in the Hillary investigation or Hillary matter? And he said he felt like he was being directed to basically drop the case. And if you watch his body language and you watch the way he gives an interview, as much of a scumbag as he is and a liar and a traitor, and he needs to go to jail for his criminal action, and the way he talks about the president is just completely despicable and awful, I will give, it seems like he actually believes in his own mind that he was doing what was right for both sides, which is just unfathomable. And he actually, I think his weird justification for it all is that I think it just seems really apparent that if there is some type of Hillary Clinton video that the NYPD saw, and that was, I've heard that was the precedent or the motivating factor in pushing the deep state operators, the military intelligence guys, but namely just good guys in the government, to tell Comey that he had to reopen the investigation because they found that video with the files, there was like 100,000 emails from Hillary Clinton on Anthony Weiner's laptop, which is why he came out right before the election and reopened the investigation. But you can tell that it was like he's playing this balance where he's like, well, like you can tell he doesn't like Hillary, basically. And you can tell Hillary doesn't like him. And you can also tell that Loretta Lynch is definitely a Hillary lackey, and he sees that. But then he has to play the other side because he's a little deep state weasel, POS, in my opinion. I don't mean to get into the name calling. I think we can be above that. But we will say this. When he looks at Trump, he looks at him as this mafioso because that was just the way that he's romanticized him in his mind because he's such a big wimp and he can't go talk to him. And every time George Stephanopoulos asks him about, like, why didn't you say this to the president or why didn't you say that to the president, he would just be like, well, I just wasn't sure it was appropriate. Maybe if I had had more guts, I would have done that, or more courage. And you're like, you're the director of the FBI. You're like 6'8". What? Who are you intimidated by? The president, really? I mean, come on. He's a man. I mean, we respect him. He's the president of the United States, but he's just a man ultimately. So it's just an awful hit piece. And the guy's a big wimp, a big dopey wimp. And sorry for the name calling, but, hey, that's what it is. And we'll get into this more because it all kind of correlates back to this. But I think that's just my take on Comey. We'll maybe talk about that later, maybe not. Now, here's a set of memes, and this is what Q is always looking for. He's always looking for memes to help explain things because they're much easier to get to the broader masses, which is what we have to appeal to. So it says, I can has Supreme Court, and then that with Hillary Clinton, and then Lynch says she regrets the TARMAC meeting with Bill Clinton, but promised Supreme Court seat. Yeah, exactly. And this was Muscotus, like, they're gonna switch places or whatever. She's gonna take it. And but you promised with her and Hillary. And then the AN0N here says, we thought it was Scalia, thanks for spelling it out. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I need to fix Muscotus meme. And Q responds, think timing. Loretta Lynch remains Attorney General under HRC as president. Then HRC appoints a new Anthony Scalia replacement, right? So it wouldn't have been Loretta Lynch. Then Ruth Bader Ginsburg steps down. Then Hillary appoints Loretta Lynch. Then there's a new Attorney General, and that was the whole plan brought to you by Q. He laid it out. I mean, that's literally it right there. That was their whole gig. That's what Bill Clinton was on the plane offering to Loretta Lynch in order to drop and change and change the wording and drop the investigation into Hillary. They said, look, when she becomes president, you'll be the Attorney General. Then she'll replace Anthony Scalia with somebody, right? And then Ginsburg will step down, and then it's all yours because then and the important part about appointing somebody else besides Loretta Lynch to Anthony Scalia's seat is because obviously you're never going to replace an Anthony Scalia with Loretta Lynch. And furthermore, ultimately she would have had to have picked some, half Republican, half Democrat, supposed nonpartisan, middle of the road person, but who would be secretly a deep state puppet and a globalist. So, I mean, you see what their plan was. It's fairly obvious, and Q's pointing it out. He's laying it out. He's painting it with his brush here for you guys to read, and I'm just kind of reporting the news to you here. So, the next one, Q responds to his own. He says, where are the audits? Because he wants people to make graphics. Again, he's saying side-by-side graphics. It's a typo here. It's Supreme Court Loretta Lynch deal drops with original timestamps. POTUS's tweet, important going forward. Here's POTUS's tweet. Okay, and I know we skipped one right now, but I'm sorry, we didn't. All right, and it says, Comey throws Attorney General Lynch under the bus. Why can't we all find out what happened on the tarmac in the back of the plane with Wild Bill and Lynch? Was she promised a Supreme Court seat or Attorney General? In order to lay off Hillary, no golf and grandkids talk, give us all a break. And that's Trump laying it out there. He's saying, look, okay, we know what happened. We're very aware that this happened. And some ANON's pointed out some great stuff, that just you pick up right as soon as they say it, you pick it up immediately and you go, wow. Here, was she promised a Supreme Court seat or Attorney General in order to lay off Hillary? There's no question mark here. That's said as a statement. So that's meant as a statement. And Q even points to it as saying, yes, that's meant as a statement. This is the sequence of events. This is exactly what happened. And we're going to get into some really crazy stuff later too. Stick around because you want to hear what Q has to say about or shows us and points to us to read about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her thoughts on all types of stuff. And I can tell you that if these are her opinions, which there seem to be in fact that they are, that she's in favor of things like child sex and pedophilia and all that, and it's sick. And you guys, it's just basically her list of dream list of how she would change every law in the country. And it's just, you guys want to hear that because this is the kind of people we have in the Supreme Court, which should be terrifying to most constitutional Americans out there. But that's what he wants. He wants more side-by-side graphics and everything, and everybody was working on that while this posts were going up. And one AN0N replies that he's making the post now, and Q says, thank you, Patriot. Proofs being lost, Q. And he's trying to, Q's pointing out here that we have to point to the proofs of Q because they're part of what make Q so successful and possibly breaking through the shield, however you want to call it, between normal people and normal people as in those who don't watch alternative media, the ones who are basically sucked into that machine. I don't want to call them normal. They're the opposite of that to me, obviously to most people who are here, I'm sure. But the next one, he says, the AN0N points out that SS is a typo in this. It's supposed to be Supreme Court Loretta Lynch deal. And Q responds, yes, SC equals Supreme Court Q, right? Okay, now jumping into the next one. So what is this? This is an example of what Q wants, and it's pretty perfectly done. Q says, perfect example of why we are here. Thank you, Patriot. Thank you all, Q. Now, what is it? It's very simple. There's nothing complex here. It gives timestamps, so it gives dates, and it shows you exactly what it is. Here's Trump's tweet. Here he's talking about the TARMAC. Here he's making almost a definitive statement that this was a Supreme Court position offered to the Attorney General in order to lay off Hillary investigation. This is Q telling us about it on April 2nd, and here's Q mentioning it again here February 6th. He's telling us exactly. TARMAC meeting, Supreme Court, Loretta Lynch deal, Anthony Scalia, 187. Right? So this is a great example. This is what Q's pointing us to understand. This is what he wants. These are the things that we need to get out to the public and share. I shared this on my Twitter already, but I'm sharing so much there. So if you guys can find it, share it. I'm going to keep sharing as much as I can. And I appreciate everybody who came over here and checked out my Twitter, by the way. It's at Justin_formed. If you guys are interested in coming over and checking that out. Now, focus should also be on Supreme Court promise. Only dropped here. POTUS validating drops via Twitter per planned timing. Future proofs passed. Comms understood. Q. I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. To read it out loud is to understand it, but we can go over it for really briefly a second here and say, okay, we have to focus on the promise of a meeting between, or the promise of an appointment to the Supreme Court during the meeting on the tarmac, and that this was something that was not dropped really everywhere else. It was basically said here on the Q boards, and then other people started saying it and going, oh, well, that might have been what happened. And then Donald Trump just jumps right up on the Twitter there and just validates the heck out of it because this is from February. And he's saying, this is exactly what happened. Now, a lot of people speculated beforehand that Loretta Lynch was being offered something and all that, but Q was the first one who went up and said it definitively. And then Trump backs it up by saying it definitively. I mean, that the missing question mark is very important. Don't forget that, guys. Okay, now the next one. Well, I'll finish up here, I guess. Only dropped here. POTUS validating drops via Twitter. Future proofs passed. These are the comms. So this is how it works. The comms, if you understand that, then you understand the basic premise of the Q 8chan comm system that we're running here. Okay, so this is the next one. It's a great example. Q just points to it. He doesn't even say anything about it. And what it is basically is this. And it puts together everything. And that's just a great example of what Q is talking about here, is putting everything together, right? As I try to do every time here for you guys, it's the same principle of putting everything together so that it can be read as one. Now, this is the same tweet that we just went over, where he makes a definitive statement basically that she was offered a Supreme Court seat or the Attorney General job. Then it gives these Q posts with timestamps. We're saying, public interest keep high, Uranium One FBI informant, the whole TARMAC meeting, AN0N, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and all that. Then you have the Lynch offered Supreme Court position if Hillary got through. That was an AN0N who posts. And then you have, and this is from February 6th, mind you, and then you have him putting out build timeline. Anthony Scalia was killed, then HRC investigation pivots, and then James Comey dismisses the letter. Then they had number 2, and then they had Peter Strzok and the WikiLeaks comms. I don't think that's Peter Strzok. I'm sorry. And Q. And I'll get the PS, don't worry. And actually, that might be actually Peter Strzok, because I think he was the one who interviewed Hillary Clinton. Yes. So I'm going to stick with that. I think that's Peter Strzok. Now, the next one is the public interest, keep high, and he's the one that we just went over. And coincidence, Supreme Court, Loretta Lynch deal drop, POTUS tweet, TARMAC coming soon to a theater near you. It's kind of connecting everything together. Anthony Scalia and his... And then the last part here says, Judicial Watch was informed yesterday by the U.S. Department of Justice that the FBI has located 30 pages of documents related to the June 27, 2016 TARMAC meeting between former Attorney General Loretta Lynch and former President Bill Clinton, and proposes non-exempt material be produced no later than November 30th. Okay, so there you go. That's a good example of what Q wants us to put together there. And we're going to talk about the next tweet here, or next post. It's an AN0N posting. It says, interesting how he doesn't bother with a question mark at the end of the Supreme Court question. It was a statement. And then Q responds, and that's something I've been talking about here. And then Q responds, he says, has POTUS made a statement found not to be true? Nothing stated should be discounted. Moving fast, Q. Okay, so what he's obviously saying there is that Trump puts these statements out because they're factual. He doesn't throw stuff out that he knows is going to come back and bite him, because he mostly, 99% of the time, would try to deal in facts with this kind of stuff, hopefully 100% of the time if it's possible. And it says, nothing stated should be discounted. So obviously, if Trump still hasn't even corrected it here, and I've said this before, there's a team of people that probably would tell him right off the bat, you might want to put a question mark there, sir, Mr. President, and he would say, no, I know exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so there you go. It's moving fast. We have this information is going to be coming out very quickly, so we need to stay on board with it. Next post. So the next post here, haven't been able to tie it in yet, but I think I got a good idea of the where and when. But anyway, it says the where, and it gives this picture here. Excuse me. And this is the where, okay? And obviously this is in Asia. I think it's in China. And then it gives the next post, Q post, is a picture in response to this picture saying the why. Okay, and it's this picture right here. Okay, obviously in China again. And I only say that because this building here is obviously, to most people who would know, the Shenzhen Stock Exchange in China. And then you have here the China CITIC Bank is what some AN0N has suggested it may be. Obviously, this is speculatory at the moment. I haven't verified this information yet, and I'm also waiting to verify what the actual significance of it is, other than what would be an obvious put together saying that Loretta Lynch was offered this deal and that somehow there's a connection to China or this could be working into the next post, which we'll get into. So we'll just jump right into it. If you guys want to fill me in as we go, I'd love to hear it. Now, the next one says 4 clown UIDs here, like universal identifier identifying tags. Armenia, Google QAnon search stats by country. Armenia #1. Q. Well, probably before I got on here and Google went and scrambled everything, it seems like besides the United States, though, it's right here. You guys can go look it up on Google Trends for yourself if you'd like, but there you go. You have it laid out right here for you, where it specifically says that Armenia is the second highest search rate for QAnon. Isn't that fascinating? Well, what's interesting also about that is something that's quite particularly important when you think about Armenia. There's one person in particular who has a strong Armenian connection. He's been fighting against Turkey and other countries, Azerbaijan's stances against Armenia, and it's Adam Schiff, little Adam Schiff, who we all know from the Little Kids Foundation of California, who's probably representing, I'd probably guess, the Kardashians' district, and they're Armenian as well, which, not tying them in, just saying they're not going to cast dispersion on others, but they set the worst possible example one could for any human being on this earth. So, besides a few people, so just being generous there. Armenia is #1, and he's saying that the CIA is over there working, and that just, you want to look at Adam Schiff. Obviously, there's going to be something there that we have to look into in the future, I'm sure, anyway. But you have Q pointing out that they're here, they're here watching, and it's not just that, they're on the board planting disinformation actively. So Q's having to sift through that at the same time, and but they're monitoring it and they're actively working on it, and they know what's going on. So let them be here. They're gonna have to see this unfold for themselves, because it's the truth, and the truth will always come out eventually, and they can't put a lid on that forever. So good luck to them. I don't think they'll ever stand a chance at shutting this down, but good luck to them. Now, this is one we already looked at, right? It's this simple proof of Q where you have TARMAC being mentioned, with this direct, pretty much statement, not a question. And you have almost 2 months prior, or over 2 months prior, advanced knowledge of this tweet coming out from Trump. So it's basically a proof of Q. Now, Q is responding by posting it and saying, Supreme Court, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Anthony Scalia 187, clown Black Brennan Q. So I think this is a direct message to the clowns that are here, or were there watching while this was going up live, and basically saying, not only do we know that the Supreme Court and the Ruth Bader Ginsburg, we know that it was an operation by Mr. Brennan himself, the Trump-hating, raisin-faced turd, old CIA dirt mite that needs to go back to his cave and just shut off, and get out of here, because obviously he does not need to be interfering in our politics any more than what he's already done. Now, there's been a lot of speculation about what Anthony Scalia was or what he did in his own private time, and I don't know any of that's true or verifiable, just as much as I don't know any of this is provable or verifiable. So as of now, I'm going to go ahead and say, if he was evil or if he is evil, then it's not good, but then it's not good to kill or whack a sitting Supreme Court justice. So if you're the clown Black, right, Brennan, that's his probably clown nickname over there, and these people are clowns. They don't know what's going on. Well, they know what's going on, but we're exposing them because the truth is obviously more important than their lies. But that's what I think the insinuation being made there is. Now, Q responds to his own post here saying, we made sure a reporter was there to capture these people. These people are stupid, Q. And he's talking about the Loretta Lynch TARMAC meeting. They had the foreknowledge. The Wizards and Warlocks knew, and what they did was They sent a reporter there and said, don't you think it's strange that Loretta Lynch is meeting with Bill Clinton on a tarmac while his wife's under investigation and she's the acting attorney general for the United States? And the guy went, yeah, I should probably go down there and get a picture and maybe get a comment. And then when they showed up, they were like, oh no, I can't believe this didn't work. Our secret plan to meet on a tarmac to discuss a meeting so we wouldn't leave a trail for anyone to hear, even though they were obviously spying through our phones the whole time. We didn't even know it. Yeah, that whole thing. So that's what Q is basically pointing to, and obviously we're glad that happened so that we have the information now. Going into what this is disturbing, as I said before. It's a testimony about Ruth Bader Ginsburg that's put together by these people that are part of what you'd say, I guess, would be like a think tank, discussing her actual writings and what her actual beliefs are. And this was in response, I believe, to her being nominated to become the actual Supreme Court justice that she is today. So we can read through a few of these things that are just incredibly disturbing, that just jump out to you at the beginning of reading through this. Okay, so this is talking about the age of consent for sexual acts must be lowered to 12 years old. What? What kind of sick, excuse my language, crap is that? Okay? What is that? Bigamists must have special privileges from other felons don't have? So what, if you're in jail and you're a bigamist, you should be able to see all your wives? Prostitution must be legalized. These are her thoughts. Prisons and they want prisons to be sex integrated. They wanted everything to be sex integrated. The merchant marines must be sex neutralized, and women may not have more bathrooms than men. Yeah, okay. This is all what we're getting into today, which is what the scariest part of it all is. This is what this whole transgender mixing sexes and making it so that we're all one sex basically, and that there is no difference. It not only does it kill the family and stunt the growth of a population from its most basic growth principles, but you have this actual literal written down belief that we have to integrate everything into one single sex activity. So sports, like you see these transgender athletes who go and play cross sports, and then they just dominate in the other sex's sport, and you go, oh yeah, that's going to make it equal. But this is the true socialist, egalitarian, fantasy, la land utopia that they live in, where they actually believe this stuff it will work. They need frats and sororities to be sex neutral or integrated, and Boy Scouts need to be with the Girl Scouts, and 4-H needs to be the boys with the girls. And look, you can argue whatever you want for this stuff, but here's like one. The traditional family concept of husband as breadwinner and wife as homemaker must be eliminated. Well, okay, but that doesn't mean you have to force it through government. Maybe if that happens in certain situations, then that's fine. Nobody is actively acting or working against that. So that's where the socialism comes in, where the state's going to come in and tell you, you're not right. We can't allow that. If a woman wants to be at home being a homemaker and a man wants to go out and make money, then, but no, the equality. They both have to be out working all the time. And the government's going to tell you. Here's a great, the federal government must provide comprehensive government child care. Well, yeah, why not? Because you just, no matter what, if you have a kid, the federal government should just subsidize and give you free health, free everything you want, right? The right to determine the family residence must be taken away from the husband. Okay. No fault divorce adopted nationally. And then here's that was the changing the laws, right? Now here's the thought police. Very Orwellian here, wanting to go in and rewrite all of the words that are seen in the laws so that they reflect different characterizations. So no more man or woman, person or human. No more mankind or humanity. No more mankind, just humanity. No more manpower, just human resources. Husband, wife should be spouse, and mother, father should be parent, and sister, brother should be sibling. And it's just, you know what? This is the control that they want over every facet of your life. From how you act in society to how you speak. That's what they want control of. And that's why this whole document is just completely beyond the scale for me. I just can't believe that this is what she's writing, and she's sitting on the U.S. Supreme Court, actually making decisions on cases that affect me on a basic permanent basis. So, and then the people who wrote the article give their statements about things and what they think. And then at the end, they basically just say, I'm not going to go through all these because they're not really pertinent to what's going on here. But it says, in the end, the summary of the testimony is that Ms. Ginsburg's nomination should be rejected, right? So they're basically saying is, look, this person's a whack job, nut doodle, Fruit Loop who thinks that socialism is better than the Constitution, that we need to be communists over here in America. And you're like, yeah, she's sitting on the Supreme Court. So I don't know. You guys do with that as you will. I went through it with you. Now, the next one, it says, reread the 5 Eyes. Avoid U.S. data collection laws. Hussein, public dossier FISA, not public. 5 Eyes, UK, Australia, POTUS, targeting using pushed Russia decoy meetings, campaign insertions. Hussein, HRC, Loretta Lynch, Brennan, Clapper, National Security, White House Situation Room, Operation. UK, Australia, assist and setup. Q. So this is laying something out that we need to be very aware of. The whole Russia hoax, this whole, as I like to say, I've heard this mentioned by somebody who mentions it often, the whole canard, right, is not just a domestic conspiracy. It's a global conspiracy where the 5 Eyes, if you guys don't know who the 5 Eyes are, I'm going to show you right now. Hold on. The 5 Eyes are an intelligence ring that is made up by Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and United States, where we entered into this agreement that Q points out, okay, or we pointed out, AN0Ns and Q did on the last board. This basic organization, right? It says, awesome. The 5 Eyes is basically a group of countries asking each other to spy on one another's citizens so that they can skirt their own privacy laws, which is treason, by the way. Yeah, that's exactly the point of what Q's getting into here with the 5 Eyes. He's saying that, okay, excuse me, my voice is going for some reason. You have the 5 Eyes working when POTUS went to them and said, look, we have these Russians in meetings, and we have whatever that guy's name is, the guy, they planted people all throughout the campaign. It doesn't even matter to name their names. They're all pretty much not important at this point, but people like Carter Page and so on. They put these people in there, right, as basically decoy, insertions to get the 5 Eyes to go, okay, well, here, we'll spy on them for you because obviously you have a FISA and you're very adamant that Russians are interfering in your elections, right? And then you have Obama, Clinton, Hillary, Loretta Lynch, James Clapper, and John Brennan, right? These sick criminal slimeball sleazebags using the foreign intelligence that was gathered by other countries and having an actual national security meeting in the White House Situation Room. That's the same place where they supposedly, allegedly went and killed bin Laden from. Okay, so that was the scale of the operation that they were involved in spying on the Trump campaign using fake first off, fake Christopher Steele dossier stuff, and then the campaign insertions of people like Carter Page, who are apparently Russian spies but have no proof of them being that, right? So then you have that being the UK and Australia, who are the ones who assisted in that. So there you go. I'm almost at a loss for words. I just laid it all out for you. That's the basic gist of exactly what Q is laid out here. So I'll leave it to you guys to let me know what you think in the comments as usual, because this is pretty disturbing on so many levels that I don't even know where to begin other than to say we have a long ways to go here, ladies and gentlemen. But that's going to be it for today. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Again, if you're looking for a way to contribute and help out this page, the easiest way for you to contribute and the best way really is to come here. If you have not clicked the subscribe button, please click the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications if you want to be notified as soon as these videos get posted. But another great way you can contribute is to please go down to the bottom of this video and leave a comment. Leave your insights, thoughts, theories. If you have anything I missed, please put it down there, and we can discuss that in either the comment section or in the next video. And thank you so much to each and every one of you who go down there and do it on a regular basis, because I depend on that as my voice continues to go. I depend on that every day to go down and read through and hear what you guys have to say about it, so we can continue to develop this QAnon, all this information that we get comes in dumps as we go. Now, like I always say, though, we have our own QAnon research board at the end of each one of these videos where we go over each one of the posts. So even if you can't go down there and comment, please just scroll down, read through the comments. You will learn something you did not know. I guarantee that. And it's just fascinating to talk to some of the great people that contribute on this channel regularly. And it's fascinating to hear from people who are new, who don't contribute very regularly. It's just really great to go down and read all the thoughts, prayers, comments, insights, theories. There's a lot down there, and it's definitely worth a look. If you guys ever want to read through it, please do it. Now, if you're looking for another way to help out, please come over here to patreon.com. That's patreon.com. You can search Just Informed Talk. All you got to do is click this button here to become a patron, and yeah, that'll help me out big time. I really need all the help I can get. You can come here. You can actually check out my rewards and my goal. You can earn a chance to have a direct email correspondence with me where you can ask me anything. You can become a featured Patreon of the show. And you can have a chance, if you're one of the first 10 to donate at this level, which I can tell you right now, there's still 2 of these left at least. You can get the official limited edition Just Informed Talk is Trump QAnon t-shirt. So definitely come check that out. And trust me, guys, I don't make any money on that by the time everything's said and done. And I'm just doing it because I love getting stuff to you guys, and I want to make it so that you guys can feel like you're a part of the channel and help me keep going. So thank you in advance to everybody who's come here and contributed already, or thank you to everyone who has come here and contributed already, and thank you in advance to those who will come and check out this page. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy what you see here. Now, another way to help, just if you guys want to get involved, come here to my Twitter at Justin_formed. And as you can see, I'm in the middle of just a tweet, meme blowout here. I'm going all out here, and I just want to keep it going. So if you guys want to come here and post your favorite memes, right now I think what would be more appropriate is if we get memes about the TARMAC meeting and memes about what's been going on with Q-Board just recently, and we can keep tweeting those out, and that'll be great. Also, when you sign up for this Just Informed Talk page, each one of my videos gets automatically posted to the Twitter feed, so you guys can have the access there in case your notifications don't work, or if you're more on Twitter than you are on other social medias, you can actually get informed as soon as the videos get posted. So I apologize, my voice keeps going out. And we're going to basically wrap it up here. And we're going to talk about what is the most important thing. Now, voice or not, I know that this voice is what's most important. That is the voice where I share the word of God. Because we all have difficulties. We all see the injustices all around us in this world. And I think there's a very important chapter in Psalms that actually talks about how we should react to injustice. And just as the injustice that we see with the unequal in-proportionality of criminal sentencing for these people, there's not fair investigations into the Clintons and all these things that we could be really upset about. Let's see what the Lord has to say about it. And it's Psalm 58, and it's a cry against injustice. And it says, "Do you really speak righteously, you mighty ones? Do you judge people fairly? No, you practice injustice in your hearts, with your hands. You weigh out violence in the land. The wicked go astray from the womb. Liars err from birth. They have venom like the venom of a snake, like the deaf cobra that stops up its ears, that does not listen to the sound of the charmers who skillfully weave spells. God, knock the teeth out of their mouths. Lord, tear out the young lion's fangs. They will vanish like water that flows by. They will aim their useless arrows like a slug that moves along in slime. Like a woman's miscarried child, they will not see the sun. Before your pots can feel the heat of the thorns, whether green or burning, he will sweep them away. The righteous will rejoice. When he sees the retribution, he will wash his feet in the blood of the wicked. Then people will say, yes, there is a reward for the righteous. There is a God who judges on earth." Now, that may have been a little graphic for some, but that's the point that God needs to make, is that when people are guilty of doing certain things, we have to trust in the Lord that his vengeance will be swift and they will be his. They will not be ours unless he guides us to make those vengeance ours. And in the Bible, there is a time for forgiveness, but there is a very popular verse in the Bible saying there's a time for peace and there's a time for war. And we have to understand that this is a war between good and evil. This is not a conventional war that is in any other sense understandable besides a spiritual sense. God is actively fighting evil every single day, and he's using us in his own way to help fight that fight. So please do whatever you can. Just remember to trust and love in the Lord and put your faith in him first and foremost. Now we can just depend on that every single day, and I think we'll be just fine. So if you don't take anything else away from this episode, please take that away. I'm going to go get some tea or something for my throat. Obviously, I'm losing my voice, but thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, if you have not hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and you can hit the bell for notifications if you want to be notified. But that's going to be it from me. Thank you all again for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time. But that's going to be it. I'm Craig. This is Just Informed Talk. Godspeed, and God bless you all, Patriots.